Well, hello everyone. In this episode, we're talking to my friend Xiaoyun Pan, and she is someone that has a pretty incredible story, not just from the health perspective and the transformation she made there, but sometimes you just get really lucky in life. And what ended up happening with Xiaoyun is she had a cancer that was developing, and a mom's intuition probably saved her life. She actually says this on the podcast. Her mom told her that she needed to get a checkup one day, and she actually listened and got it. Now, Xiaoyun was not someone who was getting these checkups regularly at all. She kind of ignored it, like so many of us do. And it turns out that she did have this cancerous growth already occurring. And if it hadn't gotten caught then, it is fair to say that we might not have been ever doing this podcast with Xiaoyun. So I think you guys will really like this one, not only for the information that we're sharing, but just the incredible story and the person. Xiaoyun is an amazing woman and really hardworking and is going to do some awesome work herself in this space. So without further ado, let's get to the episode. All right. Hey there, Xiaoyun. How are you?
Good. How are you, Evan? Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you here. And she was impressed because I got her name right. I've been studying it beforehand, and I was like so nervous because it's so different saying it beforehand when I have many exotic names, at least in where I'm from, that come on the podcast. So it tests you a little bit. And then it's hilarious because I could ask someone beforehand, I'm like, all right, how do I pronounce this? And they're like, yeah, you got it. And then the podcast starts and I say it a completely different way because I'm nervous. So, all right, we got it. So far, so good. But with that said, I am really looking forward to this interview because her and I don't know each other. Obviously, we're both in the functional diagnostic nutrition world, but this is one of my favorite types of conversations when it's someone I haven't met before. They're in FDN though. They've been through the health stuff. And then I kind of just get to explore their mind in the same way that I'd explore with them if we were hopping on a phone call for the first time. So we will begin this way. My first question is straightforward, and it's when did your health issues start and what did they look like? And then we'll kind of touch on the other background stuff after that.
Yeah. My health issues started in my last job. And it was my last job, and it actually also my first job. You know, when I was working as an engineer for many years, and then I had some health issues. But when I look back, I realized, a lot of things actually happened far before that, and I found myself, I had always been running at a full stretch on almost everything I was doing ever since the school time. And after I graduated from the high school, I spent 5 years in the university to get a bachelor degree, and then another 3 years in the graduate school to get my first master. And then I moved to the second master program, and again, another 3 years. And then after the graduation, I got a job right away. So it's like there's no nonstop. There's no time to take a breath. And in my years as engineer, it actually was a job that I truly loved, and it's a fulfilling career. I got promoted as a manager just after 3 years. I joined the company, and I have like a few dozen of engineers under me in my team to manage, and we complete a lot of projects one after another. So it gave me a sense of achievement. But still, I have to admit it's a stressful job. We work a lot of, we have to do a lot of overtime and a lot of traveling, and we have to catch on the deadline of a project one after another. So it was like a little bit, crazy time. And what I see in the past is it's not just the workload, but I basically have no time to really take care of myself. And first, I do not have much knowledge about that. I don't have a lot of strategies for self-care, and so it's just like the outside world. My job is almost everything of my work. So I don't have the time to really listen to the body, to feel how I was feeling at that time. So and I knew I need to eat healthy, live healthy, but the only thing I know about healthy eating is to go with this low fat, low salt, and cut animal food as much as possible. and stay away from cholesterol because it's bad for you. And for healthy living is all about exercising. Go to a gym every day, no matter how late it was. I remember, it doesn't matter how tired I was, I have to drag my body to the gym, even at 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the evening after I got off from the office. So this is like burning the candle from both ends. But I didn't realize that until, this physical exam. Actually, I haven't done the physical exam for many years. I skip that. I just don't think it's necessary. I feel good. I rarely got sick, so I skip most of the physical exam for those career years. Until it was, I remember it was 2007, and my mom pushed me, and she told me, you haven't checked for many years. Let's do it. You need to have your body checked at least once a year. And so just to let her to be at ease, I go ahead and schedule the physical exam. So on that day when I want to do the physical exam, and one of the item in the program is to do the physical palpation on the neck, around the neck. So that doctor did that check, and then she told me, well, there is a nodule on your thyroid, and you probably want to have it checked. But even after that physical exam, I still didn't take it seriously. I delayed for 3 months. I didn't go to schedule the ultrasonic because I don't want to take days off from my work. So yeah, again, still my mom, she had a friend at that time, and that friend was a endocrinologist. And so once she learned that I had a nodule on the thyroid, she just reminded my mom saying, it's common for women, in especially the mid-aged woman, to have a multiple nodules on the thyroid. But once there is only a single one, when there is a solitary nodule on the thyroid, there is a higher chance of being malignant. So so then my mom, really urged me go to schedule the ultrasonic. So again, for her, I scheduled that ultrasonic. And I still remember, on the day I walked into the clinic, the doctor was very friendly. She was very kind, and we had some relaxing chatting around things. And I think none of us really foresee this gonna be, how this day gonna be. And then as soon as she started the procedure, start to check the ultrasonic, her facial expression, her voice became seriously all of a sudden. And then she told me, well, you should go to see the specialist tomorrow and discuss the treatment. So here, I got this cancer diagnosis. It just seemingly came out of nowhere. It's like a slap in the face or head-on blow, So and then everything was quickly arranged afterward. And just a week after, I did a surgery, and they performed a full thyroidectomy on me. So that means that they removed the whole thyroid gland. I think they only left one side of the parathyroid gland there. I believe it's the left side. So so the surgery itself actually was successful, and that definitely saved my life. And that surgeon, he was a very skillful doctor, and she did a beautiful surgery, and she left almost no scar on my neck. So, afterwards, when people met me, they even couldn't tell I had a surgery. I had a cut on my neck. So, yeah, the surgery itself was good. But the entire process was still overwhelming. And even after that, I still holding on to the hope that I would be able to make a nice comeback. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. And it actually was just the beginning of a long journey of struggling with multitude of chronic conditions in the years to follow. So after surgery, I experienced low energy and lasting fatigue, weakness. I think months after the surgery, I caught a cold, but that cold seems never to end. And I was coughing every day, and I had a fever almost every afternoon. And then I went to see the doctor, and they found I had a tuberculosis. So I was put on a full course of triple therapy antibiotics treatment. And in the meantime, my whole digestive system was also, totally thrown out of whack. I experienced that cramping, this abdominal pain, bloating, diarrhea. It's like almost every meal I suffered. And what is particularly frustrating is, I did so many type of testing. I was hoping that this gastroscopy, that could probably tell me something, just tell me what was wrong inside my stomach. But that wasn't the case. The result actually showed no significant pathological evidence. So that means the doctor cannot explain why I was feeling the way I was, but that persistent stomach churning pain, that always bothers me, almost, keep me up night after night. And then I, also had a lot of infections, just had frequent UTI. Within 2 months, I was sent to the emergency room for UTI. And one time I remember I was still at work. It was afternoon time, and I had a severe lower abdomen pain and also high fever. So just within 2 months, I went to the urgent room 2 to 3 times because of this infection. So yeah, so all of those are the alarming signs of a severely compromised immune system. And those signs just alert me to the possibility of a cancer recurrence. And I knew I can't let it happen again. And I knew if it happened again, I won't survive. I won't make it this next time. So yeah, and then finally, here comes the last straw. And my son was 2.5 years old at that time, and he was diagnosed with autism. And so I know my body, myself, and my family, they need my full attention, and I have to make that decision, to resign from the work. I think that must be the toughest call in my whole life, because I never had a moment of doubt that I would be a career woman for the lifetime, because that was what all my other female family members were doing. My mom was an engineer, and I remember when he was at age 65, she was still served at a board exam. And my sister, now she is already over 60, and now she's still working as a civil engineer. So I thought that was I was supposed to spend my life as an engineer for the lifetime as a career woman. So that's basically, my struggle over those years.
Okay. I appreciate you actually just sharing that because, like, normally, I might jump in, but I was like, that was just so chronological, and you gave us so much. I mean, I could have listened to you forever. So thank you for sharing that. That is a lot of stuff. I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to try my best to go back from the beginning here. With the engineering thing, you said that you were good at that, but then you also just mentioned at the end, maybe this was something that because my mom did this or I thought I was going to be a career woman. Did you want to do that?
I do.
Actually?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. I love my job. And as I said, that just gives me a sense of achievement. I love
Cool.
that fulfilling sense,
Amazing. That's cool. All right. At least there's a great aspect there because that's a tough career path, especially the 2 masters. I mean, as if one's not tough enough, let's go get another one. So that's pretty extreme. The other thing I wanted to say is, do you think it's fair then to say if your mom had not had this push for you to go get checked, do you think that would you have gotten checked yourself, or would it have been something like really severe before you went in and checked?
Yeah, I think my mom literally saved my life. If not because of her, I wouldn't, think about having a physical exam. It never came across my mind. At that time, I know, actually, when I look back, I know there are actually already many, alarming signs, but I just didn't tune into the body at that time. I totally ignored it. Just like people are saying, your body is talking all the time. It's just a matter of you listen or not. But if you choose to ignore, your body will make you to listen. It will, screaming louder. Eventually, someday, when you hear that, it's probably already at the too late state.
This is fascinating to me because I don't specialize in anything, but I'm very interested in autoimmunity because my mom actually had a full thyroidectomy from Graves' disease. It wasn't from cancer, but it was from Graves' disease.
Yeah, I heard from that episode. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, cool. I'm glad that you've listened back that far. But with cancer, I don't really work with as many people with that. It's just not something I kind of let others do. It's not my space. I don't have the same emotional attachment to it. However, my aunt a few years back was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And what I noticed, because I started doing some more research and seeing this stuff, and yes, it's kind of anecdotal, but I have seen this like across the board almost. It seems like these people who get cancer almost, it's like you said, a slap in the face. It's like, where did this come from? And I always wonder, as a functional practitioner, I'm like, how are there not warning signs leading up to this? And I know that you can only speak for yourself, but it sounds like in your case, you're career oriented. You clearly are a hard worker. You're going gung-ho. You're not going to stop. Maybe there were warning signs for these people and they just didn't see them. So God forbid, I mean, who knows, you could save a life today. What were some of the warning signs that maybe you ignored all your life and then you did finally see? What were they?
Exactly. I mean, actually, for myself, at that time, before the diagnosis, I lost a lot of weight. And I am actually already a naturally, thin person, but still, and I lost a lot more weight. So that's why, that worried my mom at that time. And I got thinner and thinner, and without any, I didn't try to diet. I didn't, try to lose weight, but that just happened. So and also, I remember I had those fatigue, and also got cold easily. So those are all the signs of a compromised immune system. So there actually was sign. I just choose not to listen to.
Okay. And I appreciate you sharing that with people. And for those that are listening, I would assume many listeners already know this, but maybe not. Guys, if the body's telling us something, we got to make sure that we're listening to that, even if we're really busy and even if there's a lot going on, because it's a warning sign of what's to come in the future. And thank God your mom had that, like, mom's intuition and knowing to say, hey, Xiaoyun, you need to go get this checked out because, I mean, we might not be doing this interview right now. I mean, cancer's not a joke. So I'm so glad that she did that, and I'm glad that you're here to help people. Now, obviously, like you said, that's not where the story stopped, though, because you get this thyroid removed, and I think, unfortunately, because I don't want anyone to be a perfect example of this, but it is a perfect example of why we do what we do, because you could remove the thyroid, you could remove the cancer, but there was something that led to that happening that Western medicine, although it saves lives, I mean, it literally saved yours probably, it's not so good at identifying the things that might have led to that to begin with. So after
you're
going to the urgent care again. You get diagnosed. You said you had tuberculosis, right? That's what you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Just a month after the surgery, I got tuberculosis. And
all right.
Can you believe it?
You got a lot going on. At what point do you start taking the shift? And if you listen, you know I ask this question all the time. I'm fascinated by this. How does Xiaoyun end up from this hardcore, crazy work person, engineer, not saying you're not that now, but you had to shift at some point and realize, okay, wait, I need to go try something else because conventional medicine's not serving all of my needs. When did you start looking into like more natural stuff?
Yeah, it actually started from working with my son. And you know, my son is in this autism spectrum, and when you have a kids in that spectrum, you were facing multiple problems, not just the delayed language development, not just attention deficiency and sensory overloading, but he also had a lot of physical problems like digestive issues, like sleeping issues, and also in the school, he was so hyper. You know, the teacher just sometimes really bothered by his behavior issues. And then I think that was in one of the IEP meeting, the teacher suggested, you know, why not try some medicine, you know, to make him a little bit more calm in the classroom. So then I talked with our pediatric, and he recommended two medicines. So we tried both of them, but I see some scary side effect on my son. And one of the medicine just made him sleepy all the day. You know, he just even couldn't get off the couch. He just want to sleep all the time. And another one made him very irritable. So both of them kind of turn him into someone totally stranger. So I just feel scared. And at that time, I made up my mind that I want to search for a safer and natural alternative. And then by coincidence, I watched a documentary on TV, and that documentary movie was talking about a doctor, how he used this nutritional therapy, nutritional intervention to, you know, help those kids with special needs. And then shortly after that, I met a friend, and she was self-learning nutrition at that time. So with her help, we created a very simple protocol for my son and a simple nutritional therapy. And that has some dietary changes. Actually, I say it's simple because we only made like one change in his diet. It's like we cut off all the dairy, and we also cut off all the sugar. And then we put him in a supplement protocol. You know, we use this high quality vitamin, we use high quality mineral, and high dose omega-3, and I believe there are also some digestive support for digestive enzyme, probiotics, and also some nootropic ingredients. So shortly after that protocol, I think it's just like 3 months after, I started to notice some very positive changes on him. So he can sleep the night through, and his bowel movement to become more regular and easier. So I intuitively I knew we were moving to the right direction. So that's how I started to dig into this nutrition stuff, and also put myself on supplement protocol and started to learn this nutrition stuff.
Wow. I've heard this so many times that it's the mom trying to help out their kids, and then, they get this stuff kind of figured out. I actually just interviewed someone, it hasn't been, well, it would have been released by the time this is out, Dr. Piper Gibson, and she started with her son, and that led to her doing her own stuff. Now, thankfully for her health was not really where yours was at. When did you start applying this to you? When did you start realizing, oh, wait a second, I could maybe do some of this stuff for all the stuff that I deal with?
Yeah, just after I saw those changes on my son, like 3 months after he was on the protocol, I see the good things, and then I start to put myself on the supplement as well. So but then I mean, because it's like my son's experience kind of ignited my passion in the nutrition. So I started to learn more. I started to try more things, but also at the same time, I also feel nutrition science is very messy. I would say it's very confusing because you hear all those contradictory information every day, and so that's why I made up my mind. I want to nail it down. I want to learn the things. I want to do a more systematic approach this nutrition study in a more systematic approach. So that's why I search online. I, got into those quite a few nutrition programs.
Cool. I love how you took your same engineering mind to this. You're like, I wanted a system. I wanted something more systematic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this nutrition science is not like any subject I learned in the school, like when I learn math, when I learn physics or chemistry or computer science, there's usually you always have one right answer to any given questions or any given problems. But in nutrition, there's no right and wrong. I have been puzzled by the fact that there's seemingly totally opposite diet plans, but they all could make certain people doing great. Some people, they're saying, when they do plant-based diet, that just help them reverse their chronic conditions. But there are also other people who are saying when they cut off all the carbohydrate, when they turn into 100% carnivore diet, they feel a lot better. They achieve the optimal health.
Sure.
So you see, this just so, it's just so confusing for me at that time.
I truly understand this because myself, when I was in college, one of my paths that I was originally going to take was engineering. Now, I never got to anywhere where you were at, but that was one of the things I thought I'd be good at because I'm more left-brained. I think very logically, very systems-oriented. And I found the same confusion when I got into this work because I went to, well, I'll just say a different school at one point, and I was learning about 100 different dietary theories there. Mm-hmm. And I left really confused. I'm like, so which one do I use here? What actually works? And there's almost a fascination that comes with that because I feel like it leads me to wanting to know more and more. And I'm sure you kind of get that same thirst for that knowledge. However, it's also annoying at a certain point because you're like, all right, well, I need to know what's actually going to work for me, what's going to work for my son in this case, or what's going to work for a client that I'm taking on. Mm-hmm. So you ended up trying a couple different programs, certifications, you said, and then eventually you found FDN. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
Was that just a Google search, online search, or did you hear about it another way?
No, actually, I followed FDN for quite a few years, and I remember the first time I heard about Reed Davis I watched a video on YouTube, and Reed was teaching how functional medicine use these 4R principles to address the digestive health, and that's the first time I knew Reed. And then I attended the FDN workshop, FDN webinar a couple of times. And from there, I learned this concept of metabolic chaos, and that just, I feel that's just fascinating, And then I did, of course, I did my due diligence and compare different programs out there, and I found FDN is the most comprehensive program about functional lab testing. And because before FDN, I took quite a few, like I took 3 nutrition program, and I'm just like this keep learning person. So I got some certificate, but I feel I still want a better tools to assess people, because in my previous nutrition program, we were taught to use this kind of a self-assessment, a lot of questionnaires, a lot of intake forms to collect data, and those are important, but sometimes I found the result could go really off, especially for those people who are so disconnected with their body for many years. Mm-hmm. and they don't tune into the body, they don't listen to it, and then the result came out really off. So I want to have a more objective way to collect those data. And so functional lab testing seems to be the one, and FDN, I mean, according to my homework, my research, it was the most comprehensive program. And also the support system is great. And I was surprised to see, we were offer like 3 or 4 one-to-one sessions with the mentor. And the mentor can go through our lab results and give us customized recommendation. I think by itself, this is just, worth a lot. Yeah. So, yeah.
I appreciate that because I'm always in the same boat. Like, I started off coming into FDN completely as a practitioner myself. I wanted to learn more about health stuff. This was 5 years ago. And then when I went through, I always say this to them. I feel like there's so much value for the cost of tuition. I mean, just getting into the professionals group after I graduated alone was worth the price. I mean, that's invaluable knowledge. So I hope people take that kind of stuff to heart. Now, to be clear, just so we're on the same timeline, you have already done a bunch of stuff and probably tried a million things for yourself before you got to FDN. So what was your health looking like before you started the FDN course?
So yeah, before the FDN, I tried a few things. I tried some detox program. I did some changes in my diet. I did some digestive support. And of course, I took a lot of supplements. And of course, I feel better, and some of my digestive symptoms elevated, and my energy level improved. But then I reached a plateau, and I no longer see any more improvement. And again, some of the old symptoms came back. And then as I was aging, entering into that perimenopause phase, and that also brought me new issues. So that's why I was looking, that's one of the reasons why I was looking for a more in-depth program. So then I came to the FDN.
Cool. So then my next question is probably going to be a decent one because I feel like it would have helped you a lot. When you went through the course and you were running those labs on yourself, because for those that don't know, we do include multiple labs in the cost of tuition. And as Xiaoyun was talking about, you're actually going to talk with your mentor about many things in the course. But one of the things is they're going to go over your lab results with you. So what did you learn about your own body when you were going through the course? Because I'm sure you found quite a few healing opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And I think FDN is definitely a game changer for me, both in my personal health journey and also in my business. And of course, on top of the lab, the functional lab result that helped me discover a lot of hidden stressors. But on top of that, first of all, FDN gave me the clarity about what have been going on inside me. It's like for the very first time, I can finally put all the pieces of puzzle together to understand what I have been going through, how I got down to this path, and why I'm feeling the way I feel now. I remember, I still remember, at the time when I studied I think that is module 2, and this module about stress and hormone. And in one of the videos, Reid explained, that 5 phases of metabolic chaos cascade. And that just makes so much sense to me, and I feel that whole 5 phases perfectly match what I have been going through during my entire career years. And I can see clearly how I move from that acute phase and down to the compensatory, and then eventually in the exhaustion phase. So at the initial few years, I probably was like in the first half of, or the early half of that acute phase. So I was busy, but I felt great. I have a lot of energy, just go. I rarely got sick. But then I kind of sliding down the curve. I start to feel off with less energy, got sick often, and take forever to recover. And then finally hit the rock bottom and collapse. So that clarity probably doesn't sound like a big deal, but it actually means a lot to me, because ever since my cancer diagnosis, I was bothered by that burning question all the time. I think every cancer survivor, that probably happened to all of them. The question is, why this happened to me? And why me? What went wrong? Is because I have that bad gene, or because I just have this suboptimal heritage, or I just had a bad luck? So so through the FDN course, I know I finally found the answer I was searching for. And of course, those functional lab testing that kind of discover more hidden stressors. And so first, I definitely am in the exhaustion phase. For the my cortisol level was tanked, but for the sex hormone, I'm surprised to see my estrogen level actually was higher. And I thought when I entering into the perimenopause, that's supposed to be low, but it's actually higher. So I actually had this estrogen dominant. And then what I found in the GI map, there are a lot of things in the GI map, a lot of things going on inside my gut. So at first I had this H. pylori infection, and with several virulence factors. I had a crypto, I had some of the opportunistic bacteria also high, the overall gut dysbiosis, and also have really low, surprisingly low Seagate level. The secretory IgA was very low. So that explained why, I have this compromising immune, because the Seagate is a marker for the mucosal immunity. So that's for the first time to discover those, and I was able to connect all the dots.
And I think people that are not in this space, and I don't blame them, they don't really get this, but I know exactly what you meant when you said it might not sound like a big deal. Like, no, that's a huge deal to people like us that have been sick for a while. We're getting these diagnoses, and no one's able to really tell us this. And it's not like you're not willing to put in the work. I'm willing to put in the work. Someone's just got to give me some answers and an actual path to go down here and tell me why the heck I need to do what it is that they're saying I need to do. And it's like almost funny listening to someone rattle off these labs, and you would think, oh my God, that's a ton of stuff. Well, yes, but this person, you were already sick. You want to know, what can I do? And then the labs help you find this stuff. And I think it's interesting that you talked about the estrogen actually being high when you would have expected the opposite. This is why we always say test and do not guess. We got to test, because your biochemistry might react differently to long-term stress than mine, and there's so many other variables that can come into play that could lead to unique lab results. Like for myself, I was one of those people, I think Reed talks about this in the course as being only about 10% of the people he ever tested. You know how they normally have like tanked DHEA and cortisol? I'm one of those people with the inverted ratio. I have low cortisol, or had low cortisol, but I had very high DHEA at the same time. It was like 5 times above the reference range or something. So everyone's a little different, and if someone was just giving me supplements or a protocol without having ever tested that, they could make me feel really sick. They could get me unwell. They could do the same thing for you. And that's why, we're trained in this stuff. We figure this out, and we learn how to customize it for the person. So I'm so glad that you were able to discover these things through the course. And if I'm not mistaken, you're a relatively new graduate, right?
I graduated like a year ago in April 2021. Okay,
then that's perfect, because that makes my question even more relevant then. So I'm not expecting perfection. Obviously, you've been through a heck of a lot of stuff, and we got to reverse years of what's going on. But like, even talking to you today, I mean, you seem like you got great energy. The brain's all there. Now, you were probably pretty damn smart before this, I'm guessing. But there's certain things, being in this space, you just notice about people, right? Like, when the sicker they are, they're slower. They're not able to get their thoughts. I feel like I would not get that impression from you today. So how are you feeling today, and how are things going?
Yeah, I feel great, and of course, I'm not perfect, and some things could still go wrong. I still got sick once in a while, but I think now what I feel the best is FDN give me the knowledge, the strategy, the skills. So when there's some things goes off the track, I know what I can do. I know how to pivot. I know how to tweak my diet, tweak my exercise regimen, tweak my self-care, or tweak my supplements. I was able to always come back to, this most time balanced phase, balanced mode. So that's best part of FDN.
Cool. And now I know, just because you're in our one program where we teach people kind of how to do this as like more of a business and stuff. So have you just completely decided, hey, you're going to pursue this path? I mean, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, that's my plan. Yes, I ever since I graduated from FDN last year, I was kind of prepare myself to start my personal business, and I right now I am enrolled in this FDN Thrive program that what they call the
preceptorship.
Yeah, preceptorship program. Yes, thank you. Yeah, in that program.
We don't use that on a daily basis.
Yeah,
no one uses that word on a daily
right,
basis.
Yeah, that word is a little bit mouthful. So yeah, I am in that program. I am learning this. Some basic things how to create a program, because this is totally new to me. I am good at learning things in the school and in as engineer work, but I never done anything related to business, to the marketing, to the customer, talking with, meeting people, introduce myself, what I'm doing. So this is totally new to me.
Well, the good news is if anyone can do it, I know you're going to figure it out. And I would love for you to be looking at my lab test, because if I heard this whole story, I just know that you are going to go through that with a fine-tooth comb. You're going to find anything that's possibly on there. That's amazing. So are you taking clients yet, or what can, like, if people wanted to reach out to you, are they able to? Can they get on a wait list? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, I had helped a few of my family members, and also a couple of friends, and I'm currently trying to build up my website, and I think I'm in the middle of that. I expected to have it done like in maybe 2 weeks from now. And yeah, if people want to reach me, I can give you my website, and that will be up very soon. Or you can reach me at my email address.
Okay, and so how about, if you want to share those things verbally, I will also put them in the show notes. And obviously we're not recording this and releasing it right away, so I will make sure that this isn't out for a couple of weeks so that it's out. How about we'll just call it the end of May, because I believe that's what you told me before,
yeah,
right?
I believe, yes, yeah. End of May would
Perfect.
be a reasonable time.
Yeah, but many people won't go to the show notes, so can you just say it verbally where people can find you, because we're all lazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. My website is nutritransform.com, at nutritransform.com. And it's basically come from the idea behind my business. I believe functional nutrition can help people transform their body, transform their health, and transform their life. So I call it NutriTransform.
Very cool. I love the passion. I love this career shift. I know that you love the engineering stuff, but man, I mean, I feel like you were totally pulled to do this, and I think you're going to help a lot of people. I have no doubts about that. How has been working with the family members? Was this tough? Were they reluctant, or did they think it was awesome because of your story? Yeah,
and of course, I actually started with my son, right? And that was like 6 years ago, and start with that simple, easy protocol, and then start to see the good improvement. And afterwards, I continue to help him to eat healthy in overall, and right now he's physically almost never got sick, and he's very strong, a strong boy. So, and also he has that kind of a mindset of health eating. He almost never drink soft drinks, no soda, and also, I mean, for kids, sometimes they're kind of get attracted to what the peers was eating. So
yes.
Yeah, and that just happened. But he knows, he reminded himself, I can't eat too much sugar. That's going to be bad to my brain. So I think for that mindset is already a good thing, because I see very few teenagers has that mindset. And
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because I've studied the autism thing, I find it interesting. And I know sometimes, I mean, this can go either way. Sometimes they can be the most resistant people in the world because they like their habits, they like their routine. But I feel like this might be the opposite thing, which is good. He's so aware that it's like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it routine, and you're not going to tell me anything, but it's to his benefit. So this is actually amazing. That's the mindset that he took with it. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so with that said, I got two more things for you. One is, since people will be able to work with you outside of friends and family, do you have like an ideal type of person that you're interested in working with? Like, is there a description of someone where you're like, I really want to help this type of person?
Oh yeah. Actually, I want to help those busy professionals. You know, just like myself many years ago. You know, I think with this group of people, they're highly educated, but they actually have a very little information or very little knowledge in nutrition and health self-care. So they're often misinformed. They are, struggling with their health issues. They are frustrated with those contradictory nutrition and health advice. So I want to help those people, help them to get a little more information, get a little bit more education, empower them to take back the control of the health, and so they can transform their body from being exhausted to rejuvenated and stop any suffering, stop any, just merely surviving and start to thrive so they can make more achievement in their career.
Perfect. All right. Very cool. Well, you already listened to this podcast before, obviously, so you know what I'm going to finish with today. I'm going to ask you the signature question that we have on the Health Detective podcast, and it is this. In this case, if I could give Xiaoyun a magic wand, and you could get any single person, or everyone in this world, I should say, to do one thing for their health, or get them to stop doing one thing, what's the one thing you'd get them to do?
I would like people just, have a simple routine for their day. They don't have to start with anything complicated. They don't have to start into, decide, should I go to keto or should I do the intermittent fasting? Just start with those simple routine, doing some very basic things like drink enough water, like move your body, get some sunlight, and also make yourself laugh, and just do something cheerful and entertaining at least once a day and laugh out loud. I think that would be will help a lot of stressful professionals.